Hey all! Over the past few weeks, I've been trying some different builds on my casting Mistweaver, and while I'm still confident that a Tear of Mourning or Soothing Mist-centric build can easily clear 10s and do more than enough for your average Mythic raid, there are a couple modified builds I'm starting to lean towards as we get closer to Season 2. I'll start with my dungeon build, since it's a little more straightforward. I've settled on a single build with a lot of room for small modifications based on personal choice. Since we don't need to maintain more than 5 Renewing Mists in dungeons, there are a lot of flex points in this build, which I use to pick up the best parts of the Soothing Mist and Rising Mist playstyles. It's got Peer into Peace for more flexible channeling with Soothing Mist, Rising Mist with Rushing Wind Kick for hot extensions, Jade Empowerment for some burst damage, Chi Harmony for more focused spot healing, and Shaloon's Gift with its 2 follow-up talents for a powerful full group heal. You might argue Shaloon's Gift is unnecessary and a waste of 3 talent points, but I find it extremely helpful when healing through group-wide damage, compared to the more uneven cleave healing with Vivify, especially against affixes like Devour. Not to mention, it adds value to our hero talent, Heart of the Jade Serpent, which we would otherwise only be able to proc with Celestial Conduit. Of course, if I didn't want Shaloon's Gift, I could put those 3 points elsewhere. In terms of unlocking Rising Mist, putting 2 points in Misty Peaks is a pretty popular choice, but I believe it's still bugged, in that the proc from Misty Peaks will actually cancel our Celestial Conduit channel, which is just tragic because that's a lot of healing lost. The other choice only requires 1 point, and that's Peaceful Mending, and even though I find this talent incredibly lackluster, the extra point it leaves can be put towards something like Mending Proliferation, which gets a lot of uptime with a Rising Mist build. A different option that actually keeps Shaloon's Gift would be to sacrifice Jade Empowerment for Mending Proliferation, essentially trading Lightning Burst damage for even better coverage with Enveloping Mist, which would be a reasonable trade to make if I find I'm lacking throughput, especially early on in Season 2. Then there are my 2 raid builds. The first is one that I recommended in my last major video, and that's a Tear of Mourning build with Jadefire Teachings and Jade Empowerment. Great for general use, but more specifically tailored for fights, with multiple clustered adds that are alive at the same time that the raid needs massive healing. 2 of the best examples of this in Nerebar Palace are Mythic Olgrax and Broodtwister. Now, if I'm modifying this build for a single target fight, or on any fight where there just aren't any good opportunities for AoE healing with lightning, I can make a slight modification and drop both Jadefire Teachings and Jade Empowerment, putting 2 points elsewhere. I usually take Chrysalis and either Unison or Mending Proliferation, but it really comes down to personal choice and playstyle. My other raid build is a ranged Rising Mist build, focused on maintaining many Renewing Mists and extending my hots with Rushing Wind Kick. It's a slight modification on the more popular Rising Mist builds seen in places like Icy Veins, and it includes talents like Pool of Mists, Lotus Infusion, and Dancing Mists. I feel I need to clarify, I'm advertising this as a ranged build, but it doesn't have to be played at range. Rushing Wind Kick also does damage in a 25-yard frontal cone, so anytime we can manage that without distracting from healing is just free DPS. Since the Renewing Mist from Rapid Diffusion triggers the cooldown reduction from Pool of Mists, it's very easy to push Kick off cooldown if I've got enough mana to spot heal with Enveloping Mist. Same as in all of my builds, I keep my 1-minute Yu'lon for shorter, more frequent burst windows, ramping with a few hard-cast Enveloping Mists before refreshing my hots with Rushing Wind Kick, then spamming Vivify on a target with Soothing Mist to cleave heal with Invigorating Mists. More Renewing Mists active means more targets to cleave with Invigorating Mists, so the talent Uplifted Spirits pushes Revival off cooldown much more frequently, making it very important to cast early and often. It's still my opinion that this build flattens the playstyle by turning us into more of a heal over time upkeep spec, and going back to the old Soothing Mist without Peer into Peace just feels terrible. Spamming hard-cast Enveloping Mists at the start of each ramp feels sluggish, and our burst healing feels far less surgical without talents like Chi Harmony. But I'll admit, this build can do some seriously incredible HPS, overall at least, when there's enough healing to be done. That's probably why so many of the top parses are using it. That being said, I've been trying this build for the last couple mythic reclears, and I could learn to love it. But still, we're less than 2 weeks away from getting Circe's Circlet, and it's entirely possible that the gem procs will do much more in this build and less in another, which could definitely affect which build I recommend going into Season 2. In the meantime, I hope I've suggested a few interesting builds, or variations on builds. Feel free to drop me a comment if you like what you see, or if you just hate it. For dungeons, this might be the happiest I've been with a single build in a long time, and as far as raids go, I'm extremely happy that ranged Rising Mist is a thing, even though I really wish we didn't have to choose between Pool of Mists and Peer into Peace. I'll try and upload some more gameplay with and without commentary, but it might be a bit slow with the holidays coming up, especially since Mythic Reclears and weekly keys are getting a bit sloppier. Until next time, thanks so much for watching, and have a good one.